the end. Out to Baton Rouge we go. Brad Nessler, Jimmy Dykes, Florida at LSU.
About 4 minutes into this game, Florida by 1 over LSU, 9-8. They've had trouble on the road this year, but they're off to a good start. LSU, one of the hottest teams in the country, and right now proving to be the cream of the crop in the SEC. We welcome you to Super Tuesday, presented by KFC, all part of Judgment Week. And it's the Florida Gators at the Maravich Assembly Center against the Tigers of LSU. LSU right now having won 9 straight in the SEC, 11 straight SEC regular season victories, and they're atop the entire conference. Their magic numbers at 2. Any combination of a victory for LSU and a loss by one of those teams in the top in the East, and they're the overall champions in the regular season. Welcome to Super Fat Tuesday, everybody, from Baton Rouge. I'm going to give up Jimmy for Lent, but that's tomorrow. I need you tonight, partner. It's the East against the West, Florida and LSU. This is our first chance to see LSU in person, ranked 18th in the country, looking pretty good.
Boy, does it get any better than this, to be in Baton Rouge on Fat Tuesday, the #1 team out of the East against the #1 team out of the West. What a job Trent Johnson has done this year with LSU. He inherited a nucleus of a veteran team. They are defending their tails off and really rebounding the basketball. Right now, they have a resume that says they're in the NCAA tournament. Florida, a little bit left to do.
Okay, let's take a look at the Star Watch, and this is a great backcourt combination. You wouldn't want to defend these two guys. Two of the best in the conference right here.
Brad, I think they'll both end up on that all-SEC first team. Nick Kalathis probably affects the game overall more than anyone else in this league when you talk about points, rebounds, assists. And Marcus Thornton, a guy that we have not seen this year on Super Tuesday, can flat out stroke it, kind of in the same mode as a Jody Meeks from Kentucky.
Well, it certainly has been a great year for LSU. With more on that, let's check in third member of our team, Janine Edwards. Janine?
Well, Brad, in 07 and 08, the Tigers did not have winning records, and they were a combined 11 for 21 in conference play. This year has been a rebirth for the team. Yeah, when you win 11 straight SEC games, you could say you are dominating your division. Well, new coach Trent Johnson told me, I came in and I didn't demand things of the guys. I asked. Trust had to be earned by both sides. I asked the team what they wanted out of this season. They wanted it to have meaning. Well, they're now on the road to an NCAA berth, which by definition has already given their season meaning. Fred?
23-4 coming in, 11-1 in conference play, coming off a 7-point win over Auburn. Trent, his first year here after the success at Stanford. Coming up in tonight's broadcast, we'll talk more about Fat Tuesday and Mardi Gras. What better place to be, as Jimmy said, with Nolans just down the street. A Fat Tuesday that they'd like to forget around here. I was part of that one a long time ago. Jimmy D's Jets. Teams that could create headaches if you stay out too late. And the French Quarter tonight, for instance, and then you have to get on a plane tomorrow and you're trying to get the NCAA tournament. Could be a headache.
I'd tell you another team that I might ought to add to the Jet as we're on the move right now is Providence. What a win, huh, with #1 Pitt.
Tell you what, you just don't want to be #1 right now.
Boy, I tell you what, that Big East, that team just jump up and bite you in the backside at any moment. Talk about guys doing good coaching jobs their first year. We have one here tonight, and Keno Davis, we salute him for that win. That was totally out of the blue.
As Jim Calhoun would say, the Big East right now devouring their own and devouring their young. Boy, man, here in the SEC, a ranked team, the one in white with a purple and gold trim. Florida has had trouble on the road this year, despite the fact they're 4-0 against the SEC West. Florida in the black with the blue and orange trim.
And Brad, Florida relies on knocking down three-point shots. In their SEC wins, they average 10 made threes per ball game. Can they get that many tonight against a long, lanky defensive team in LSU, the best at defending the three-point shot?
There's Walker, the spark plug off the bench. He's been getting better every week. Werner with a hook in the lane. The rebound comes off to Garrett Temple.
22% shot from Florida right off the bat. Something they don't want to take a lot of, especially on the road.
Asmund Mitchell and Marcus Thornton have played so brilliantly for this team this year. This is a veteran group. We're used to seeing young guys in the SEC. These guys have been around the block. Thornton missed the three. It was halfway home and rattled out. Back come the Gators with a 1-point lead. Walker penetrates and has it just swarmed under by Chris Johnson, who's one of the top shot blockers in the SEC.
Brad, Irving Walker, only 5'9" from Florida. He can get into the teeth of the defense, but these teeth are the big front long molars. That length of LSU could really bother this kid tonight.
Johnson, who had 6 blocks in a couple of SEC games this year against Ole Miss and Arkansas. He was devoured that one by Walker. LSU with a chance to lead. Here's Johnson offensively. In and out. And the rebound off to Kenny Cagey, who's getting more and more time for Billy Donovan's Gators.
Bo Spencer starts on Nick Calathis. There's about a 4-inch height differential between Calathis and Spencer. You got to score. When you catch it there, you have to score.
Cagey, that's a really tough shot with a left hand around a guy that's as long as Chris Johnson is.
And Cagey actually dribbled himself or pivoted out of the shot, and he had it right in front of the rim. His power has to take over.
Temple, LSU lead. A 3 for Garrett Temple.
Brad, you forget that he was a starter on their Final Four team back in 06, a veteran guy, multiple position defender, and a multiple position offensive player.
He and Mitchell and Johnson have tasted what the Final Four is about. They'd love to have another opportunity. Chandler Parsons with the answer. Parsons has been the hot hand for Florida early.
Now they're in the hot zone right now, LSU against that Florida press. That middle third of the floor, they have to attack, and they do.
Temple just straight down the middle. LSU back in front by 1.
It's not enough, Brad, just to get the ball in the middle of the floor against LSU's pressure. You catch it there, you need a playmaker. And that's exactly who LSU has in that middle spot.
Calathis pull-up jumper short from three-point range. The rebound off to Mitchell. And now Spencer into the front court. No-look pass all the way over to the corner. Three-pointer by Thornton.
Brad, that's a kid that's gone over 25 points 9 times this year. He can flat out stroke it. I compared him to Jody Meeks as far as 6'4", 210 pounds with a high release on his jump shot.
Now the crowd at the Maravich Center into it if they weren't earlier. Parsons dribbling through traffic. Nice leave inside for Cagey.
Now what did Cagey do on that touch as opposed to the other touch? He looked right at the rim and went through the chin. A power move by Cagey, something that you have to do against a shot blocker. It's a matchup zone by Florida. Very important, Brad, when you play a matchup zone on the road. In practice, do you talk loud enough to beat the best team on their home floor? That's where Florida's at tonight.
Johnson on the baseline with a one-hander. The rebound is Calathis. He gets over 5 rebounds a ball game. Florida trying to tie things up. And a bump. And a foul's going to be on Tasman Mitchell. Timeout with 11:45 remaining first half. Good one going here in Baton Rouge. LSU by 2.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college.
Let's take you back to tonight's Disney Parks moments of the game. Let's take you back 15 years ago. Kentucky pulling off one of the greatest comebacks in college basketball history. They were down 31 to LSU at 15 and a half to play. They throw it away and McCarty cuts it to single digits. Unbelievable. Unbelievable the way they've come back. Crowd asking for a defensive stop now from LSU. Delk goes up for 3 and he gets it. McCarty for 3. He got it. Kentucky's ahead. Kentucky has pulled off a comeback miracle in Baton Rouge. A young Brad Nessler was there on that Fat Tuesday. 31 points down. Kentucky comes back just raining three-pointers and wins the second biggest comeback in college basketball history. Billy Donovan was on that Rick Pitino staff. Jimmy and I talked to him outside the hotel a little bit about that tonight. Jimmy said, "Are you going to get down 31 tonight?" He said, "Thanks a lot. I needed that." 12 straight 20-win seasons for Billy D, who's now the dean of coaches in the SEC. Coach Brown, who was coaching in that game, is here tonight. We talked to Dale before the ball game as well. So when they saw me show up for Fat Tuesday, a lot of people around here said, "Don't do that again." I'm just trying to get along with everybody.
Did you see the nugget today about greatest comebacks? And speaking of comebacks and what number one teams have done this season, Pittsburgh not on the head tonight by Providence. What a win. Again, in that lead by a team against a top-ranked team.
So Pittsburgh, they can't stand prosperity. They got into number one twice, and it hasn't held out for them.
Back in 1977, New Mexico State, to open the ball game, trailed Bradley 28-0 and came back and won that game.
It's unbelievable.
That one jumps out as much as anything.
The other two games both involved Duke in 1950. If you're a history buff and you're wondering what the biggest comebacks would be, 32-pointers by Duke twice in the 50s. As Irving Walker knocks down a big-time three.
But in order for Irving Walker to be a factor in this ball game, he's only 5'9". He's going to have to find space. That time he found just enough space. Now he's really trying to be that pressure defender, something he has bought into this first year.
I think Sharon Collins found himself some space last night.
Oh, my goodness.
He was taking shots from where the L is on LSU right here on the right-hand side of your screen.
I sent Bill Self a text message after that ball game and said, Sharon Collins is a stud. His reply to me, yes, he is.
There's Terry Martin off the bench, and he's got a chance for a three-point play as Hodge fouled it.
Brad, Terry Martin went through a 4-game stretch where he was suspended and did not dress out. Said that he had to get his mind right with basketball, and that's more of what Trent Johnson told him as much as anything. But from that 4-game suspension, he has come back. He's been an important offensive guy, a versatile defender, another 6'6" guy on the perimeter. That's why are they so good defensively.
They got so many guys that can score.
Okay.
And he's got 3 off the bench.
They can score and defend multiple positions. Pac-10 Coach of the Year last year was Trent Johnson.
He might be the SEC Coach of the Year.
He could be. Now can Georgia and Alabama in this league go out and hire someone like LSU did last year? If they do, and I think they will, I think they have a commitment to that from what I've heard. Look out, SEC.
Great play. Spencer on the break. Pass was perfect. LSU by 7. They've had 2 breaks tonight where nobody dribbled. Tyus underneath to Calathis. Tough spot for Nick to make the catch, but he made the shot as well. His first basket of the night.
This is where Florida now has to have some success, Brad. You don't want to foul 80 feet away from the basket if you're Walker. They have a hot zone tonight that they're going to try to speed LSU up in, and that is not part of the hot zone. That's the play you're talking about, partner. You talk about multiple guys doing multiple things. 1 pass, 2 passes, 1 bounce. They cover about 80 feet on 1 bounce of the basketball.
9.5 to go first half. LSU leading by 5.
He needs to go inside off of the pass or off of the drive. Catch around the perimeter against this matchup zone is exactly what Florida wants.
Calathis trying to get the steal from behind and almost came up with it. Here's Martin way out. Push one, and Calathis pulled off the backside. Calathis going to try to take it inside to Tyus with a no-look over his head. How many times have we seen him do either a wraparound pass down on the baseline or one of those no-look shots like that one right there to Tyus? 8:59 remaining first half. Nick Calathis showing why he's one of the best in the conference.
The person who gave me this Excel laptop, thank you. You have changed my world.
Feel the Fury. Wednesday. It takes more than just heart. Endurance, speed, and strength is the key to get out in one piece. Heart-pounding action on Strike Force. Feel it this Wednesday on ESPN.
Back in Baton Rouge, Super Tuesday presented by KFC. It's Judgment Week. LSU right now with a 3-point lead on Florida as the SEC West meets the SEC East. Florida, should they be able to get a road win tonight, would take, at least for now, a game lead in the win column over Kentucky and South Carolina. Tennessee, they are controlling, LSU right now, controlling the West at 11-1. Oh, man. Thornton, when he rattles it from out there, and that's 3 of them already, they get there in a hurry.
Brett, his shot selection from a year ago in Maui till now has gone from a C- to an A+. That's why he's averaging 20 points a ball game in SEC play right now. He doesn't take a lot of bad looks like he used to.
He's a 40% three-point shooter, and tonight he's just hammering them home from that baseline. Here's a whistle and a foul on LSU.
About a year ago, Marcus Thornton took 8 3-point shots a ball game to get 19 points. Now he's taken 5 3-point shots a ball game to get 20 points. That time he caught it on the baseline in rhythm. The pass was on time and on target, which all great shooters appreciate, and he stuck it.
There's his numbers Jimmy was talking about. Calathes going to try a triple of his own, and that set shot of his doesn't take a lot of energy, and it's online as well. That's the 61st three-pointer of the year for Nick Calathes at the 8-minute mark to cut it back to 3.
His lift off the floor, like you said, is only about 4 or 5 inches, but every time he shoots it, it's 4 or 5 inches. You have to have that built in. Matchup zone. You see the guys in black uniforms, when they're pointing, they're saying, you got the next guy around.
Oh, that was a sweet pass by Chris Johnson to Desmond Mitchell. Big guy showing his assist skills from the high post. Walker way out on a 3. Parsons kept it alive, and he goes inside. Johnson, who had the great assist on one end, got the rebound on the other. Here's Johnson against Dan Werner.
Pretty stagnant so far this possession by LSU. Not a lot of flashing, not a lot of off-ball movement against this matchup zone. That's an easy guard.
Oh, my goodness.
Doesn't matter when you
it's
shoot it like
just
that.
Getting out farther, isn't it?
Yeah.
4 threes for Marcus Thornton in the first half.
Brad, that was bad offense and a great shot.
Warner has got an answer. Right now, both teams showing their range. These are not cheap threes that we're seeing tonight. We were kidding around about Sharon Collins, so the range on both these teams is getting out of that area. They're taking these three-pointers from about 25 feet away.
Florida has to talk. They have to point. They have to communicate. I've got the ball. You got next guy around. Those are the kind of things being said right now in that matchup zone.
Quick touch pass or an attempted one, and LSU turns it over. Walker, Calathes, and Warner will take a heat check after hitting the last 3. Desmond Mitchell pulls down the Karen at the 6-minute mark. You see Bo Spencer talks to his head coach right in front of us. This is one of those rare spots where we're on the same side as the coaches and the benches, so at times you may hear Trent Johnson coming right through our microphones on what he wants his team to do. They'll probably like that, but it's pinned against the glass by Tyus. Tyus, the leading shot blocker on Florida's team.
So far, LSU's done a great job of deleting the drive and Calathes off the on-ball pick-and-roll action, something that he thrives on.
Walker is going to leave it for Tyus, and Johnson with a block. Second time it won't go either. How about third time? Yes.
Boy, that's something that Florida, Brad, they have to do in this ball game. LSU, the best rebounding team in the SEC. Florida being out-rebounded by 3 a game. So you know Billy Donovan is emphasizing that in every huddle in this ball game. Get on the boards. Every huddle.
This is a team that with Tyus at 6'8" or 6'9", virtually the same size as Johnson, who's a 6'11". By that, I mean Johnson is so slightly built.
Right.
But he matches up pretty well with Florida right now because they can't push him around. Thornton. Oh! You gotta be kidding. 5 of them from downtown Baton Rouge. Calathes will try to quiet the crowd. He got fouled outside the three-point line by Spencer, and he'll go to the free throw line for 3 after the timeout. Right now, Marcus Thornton is shooting lights out. The number 2 scorer in the conference. He's showing us why right now from every spot outside that arc. It's getting rough between the Gators and the Tigers. In the Big Ten, Thursday night showcase presented by T. Rowe Price, all part of Judgment Week on ESPN as well. Brad Nessler, Jimmy Dykes, Janine Edwards. the Maravich Center in Baton Rouge, where Billy Donovan's Florida Gators got to be in a little bit of shock by what Marcus Thornton is doing to him right now.
And I think in that timeout right now, if we could listen in, Billy Donovan would be saying something like this. Listen to me. Marcus Thornton is shooting this thing from 24, 25 feet. I don't like for our defense to get stretched as much as we're going to have to stretch right now, but we have to stretch on Marcus Thornton because where he's shooting this basketball from and the groove that he's in, right there. Normally you don't go out that far in your matchup zone, Brad, but this guy is in a comfort zone that Billy Donovan has to tell his kids now in that timeout. We have to stretch our defense. I don't like to do it, guys, but we're going to have to stretch it right now on Marcus Thornton.
5 out of 6 outside the arc. Let's check in with Janine.
Well, Brad, some of these shots are Jody Meeks-ish. In fact, Coach Trent Johnson has compared Marcus Thornton to Jody Meeks. He said 2 of the pretty special 2 guards in this league are at Kentucky and right here at LSU. And when I asked Thornton what he thinks when he hears those words from his coach, he said, it just makes me want to work even harder, and he feels that his commitment to reaching his potential is paying off.
Jimmy, it's funny, you and Trent had the same opinion on the difference between the 2 of them as Nick Calathis is struggling from the free throw line with 3 at the stripe. Basically, it's one who's always working just a little bit harder coming around picks.
Yeah, I think the difference right now between Jody Meeks and Marcus Thornton is Jody Meeks, as far as working to get himself open, Brad, he cuts harder than anyone else in the college game, and he does it for 40 minutes. Marcus Thornton is still learning that under Trent Johnson, and that's something that NBA scouts will keep an eye on, is how hard this guy really charges and bull rushes to get himself open. If he learns to do that, he'll make somebody's roster.
Calatha's only 1 out of 3 from the free throw line.
So far, LSU's been great in that hot zone area where Florida likes to get you, that middle third of the floor, and extend their pressure.
I think if you're Florida, you got to feel pretty good that one guy for LSU is so hot and you're only down 5.
Well, Thornton's not in the game, so they don't have to extend their defense, but as soon as he comes back, they're going to have to stretch it out.
Calathis with his 3rd rebound already. He's going to take it all away with a finger roll off the glass. Calathis makes it a 3-point game and almost got the steal on the inbound pass. 3:41 remaining in the half. Nick Calathis really missed a couple opportunities from the free throw line. He made up for it right there. It's 35-32. All right, Dar, Jay, we'll see you guys in 3 minutes and 41 seconds. LSU with the inbound and leading by only 3. Despite the red-hot shooting of Marcus Thornton, who still with only 1 miss outside the arc.
Brad, against the matchup zone, I like action that comes from behind the defense and works along that baseline. LSU has not done enough of that so far in this ballgame. As good as their offense has been, it can still get better. Walker just about gave it up. He dribbles himself in trouble occasionally. We've seen that this year. Shot for Calathis, and LSU snips it out. When Calathis goes inside, he's getting ready to come back outside, and LSU was all over it. Calathis got a little crease and got around the pick, and Thornton couldn't make up the ground, and Nick Calathis cuts it to a 1-point game. Brad, he's the only player in the nation averaging over 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. And that's affecting the ball game in multiple areas. Several guys are over 15 with 6 assists, but he adds the rebounding factor that most guys don't have from that position anyway. Playing the point. Thornton, this time he's off the mark. But it's kept alive by his teammate underneath, and Mitchell missed in place. Nick Calathis can do a little bit of everything. Let's take him inside the play, Jimmy. Brad, read the traffic. First of all, look at Nick Calathis. Look at his eyes. He's almost seeing backwards right here. And this is his guy that's going to create the traffic. So he's going to read the traffic right now. And as a result, look what happens. The hedge defender's not in position. He reads the traffic and gets all the way to the rim. Great point guards. They can be looking ahead and have a feel of what's behind. And that's exactly what Calathis does for his team.
And guys, Nick Calathis has been playing with the flu since last Wednesday. And tonight he's still sick. He was coughing and sniffling in practice. He told me he just started taking antibiotics 2 days ago. He said, no, he's not 100%, but as soon as tip-off comes, he says his adrenaline will take over. Saw the numbers in the top
5 in scoring and assists in the SEC.
Normally shake his hand and give him a hug when he comes in on game day. Not today. I kept distance.
Temple gets the jumper. Runner trying to ward off the defense of Thornton. A little hand checking going on between those two. Same story between Calathis and Temple. LSU trying to pick up its defensive intensity. Parsons. And knocked out of bounds by Chris Johnson.
We had Chris Johnson, number 21 for LSU, 6'11", about 195 pounds. But right now, Florida is dragging him up into the on-ball screening action with Nick Calathis, and he's quick enough and long enough to hedge and keep Calathis out of the lane.
Tyus, nice feed by Walker. Tyus with 8.
I was anxious to see if Irving Walker's size would create problems for LSU, or would the size of LSU create problems for this guy. So far, he's shown that Brooklyn toughness growing up as a 5'9" guy, getting inside against those big, long bodies and finding other black jerseys. So right now, he's winning the battle in the size war because he's a small dude with a lot of length defensively.
Alex Tyus with a three-point play. Tyus at 37.
They're in the hot zone right now. Florida get a turnover. Once again, they don't do it. LSU has handled that middle third of the floor very well.
Martin working against Parsons. They try to free up Thornton over there in the corner where he was so hot early. He missed his last 3. We're under a minute and a half. 10 seconds on the shot clock. And a steal by Shipman. Trying to give Florida the lead back, and he does. Great play by Ray Shipman all the way, and a chance for a three-point play.
Brad, remember in that timeout I said Billy Donovan's telling his kids something like this: we have to extend our defense on Marcus Thornton, and they do. Shipman is extended well beyond where he would normally be, and on the Habit High School Harry pass, he's there to pick it off. So that's an adjustment. Boom, right there. Normally, Florida's not going to get out and extend their defense like that in their matchup. They've made an adjustment against Marcus Thornton.
This time a year ago, Shipman was in Harry High School. He misses a chance for a three-pointer, and then a cheap foul on Chandler Parsons, who is over the back, trying to get position for the rebound. Wednesday night judgment week continues in the Big East. UConn and Marquette. That'll be a dandy at 7. Then at 9, Duke and Maryland will tangle in the ACC. It's Wednesday Night Hoops presented by Disney Parks, part of Judgment Week on ESPN. 48.2 seconds remaining in the first half here. About a 12 or 13 second difference on the game clock and the shot clock. This is the guy that's hit the big shots so far tonight, number 5, who's hit 5 from three-point land. Florida, though, on a 9-2 run, has taken the lead back. Here's Johnson. I'm not quite sure that's the one Coach Trent Johnson's looking for. A three-pointer from his center. And now Billy Donovan takes a quick timeout with 26 seconds remaining in the half. Our Star Watch update. Both guys, I think, are holding their own pretty well. Marcus Thornton, 5 out of 7 outside the arc for 15 points. Nick Calathis, 10 points, 3 assists, and he has either 3 or 4 rebounds. So Nick Calathis, the last time we had Nick was at Georgia. He had a triple-double, and Georgia folks took a rebound away from him the following week, so that negated what would have been his second triple-double in his Florida career. Here's Nick. January 28th, he did have a triple-double against Georgia. That was in the first meeting against the Dogs this year. And then on the return trip to Athens in an upset by Georgia at Stegman Coliseum, we thought he had another one. But they took it away from him because he was a rebound shy. He wasn't in that particular game. The one we're talking about was a few days later, a few games later.
For Florida right now, you take the last shot of this half. You may not get an offensive rebound because you're against the best rebounding team in the SEC. So is your first shot going to be good enough here to get you more points going into the break.
Parsons,
There it is.
great cut to the basket. He got too far underneath, but he found it the second time with a left hand. And Florida's going to have the halftime lead on the road by 4.
And Brad, you talking about making great use of a timeout. Billy Donovan burns one, but he gets an important 2 points. I'm surprised that LSU's length wasn't there to erase the second shot by Parsons.
Let's check in with Janine.
Coach, it was important that you guys stayed disciplined on offense. Has that contributed to Marcus Thornton getting some of those open looks that we've seen him getting?
Well, right now, I think Florida's got us out of rhythm offensively. We're not executing like we should be and like we're capable of. We're out of rhythm. We're making bad decisions versus their press. And once we get in the half court, we're real stagnant, not moving the ball.
Are you happy with the pressure that you've been able to put on Nick Calathis so far, forcing him to try and get it done in the paint?
Well, no, not really, because he's finding an open man. Defensively, we're a lot better than what we're playing right now. So we got to get in at halftime and get some things corrected offensively and defensively. We got to play with a better sense of urgency.
Okay, we'll see you then. Thanks, Coach.
Well, Florida this year, 19-1 when they're up at halftime, but they've had trouble on the SEC road this year. We'll see if they can hold the lead in the second half. They lead by 4, so we check in the UPS halftime report. Dari and Jay standing by, fellas.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. So LSU.
Super Fat Tuesday presented by KFC. It's all part of Judgment Week. And in Baton Rouge, Florida on the road leading LSU 41-37. Welcome back, everybody. Mardi Gras time, Fat Tuesday. We're going to get fatter with some king cake. Yeah. First half, Florida was king by 4, but it was Marcus Thornton who was shooting lights out.
Well, when he's shooting it, and he shoots it the same way every time, Brad. This is a guy that has a great stroke for LSU. 5 out of 7 in the first half from 3. And Florida made a late half adjustment on him. They're going to have to stay with that late half adjustment because he's 6'4". He has a little bit of a lean back to his shot. So even when you're right in his grill with some length, he can get it off. Nick Calathis, this is a guy that likes to operate within the alley off of 3 different screening angles, and Florida does a good job of changing those angles up. In the first half, watch this screen angle come, boom, they got a screen angle from this side. Nick Calathis reads it. Chris Johnson a little late for LSU here coming up. Turns the corner and gets all the way to the rim, and that's something that Florida will continue to do, I think, in the second half. Change the screening angles for Nick Calathis up top.
Marcus Thornton, 5 out of 7 outside the arc for his 15 points. Let's check in with Janine.
Well, Brad, I just spoke to Florida assistant coach Larry Shyatt, who told me they're pleased with several things in the first half. They've been able to run their style of up and down the floor tempo. They're pleased that right now they're winning the battle of the boards, 18 rebounds, and very pleased with ball security. They only have 2 turnovers. He told me what we need to watch out for now is LSU tightening things up for us under the basket, and we got to make a decision. Do we try and gamble with our press a little bit?
We'll see as the second half is underway. We only had 5 total turnovers in the first half, and Marcus Thornton's decided to go inside. 17 for Thornton.
Something he'll have to do, Brad, if Florida continues to extend their defense on him. He's going to have to show a counter, and he just did in the first possession.
Parsons in the paint, trying to kick it out to Hodge and turns it over. So just like that, we're talking about doing a nice job not turning the ball over, and Florida does on their opening possession of the second half.
Florida's a young team, but they are 7th in the nation in assist-to-turnover ratio.
There's a good-looking move by Tasman Mitchell, and we're tied for the 4th time tonight. Great way to start the second half for LSU. Alex Tyus, he's done a little bit of everything tonight. 11 for him.
Boy, he did a great job of drifting off of the drive of Nick Calathis. He didn't stand underneath the rim and get locked in and ball watch. He drifted out into the vision of Calathis. Wide open short corner jumper.
Here's Hodge with a little one-man pressure against Bo Spencer. Spencer has no problem with it. Parsons and Werner make a run at Mitchell before he can get in the lane, as he did last time. Thornton, pull up 3. Got it.
So I talked about how he has just enough of a lean back in his jump shot because Calathis was in great defensive position. He's 6'6", and Thornton can still get it off.
Werner's going to try to answer with a triple of his own. Rebound. It's Thornton. We saw a little bit of that with South Carolina and Florida with Devin Downing fading away over the outstretched arms of Calathes. There's a two-pointer by Temple.
Billy Donovan not going to take a timeout. You have to trust that your team is tough enough to work through a little adversity.
It's going to get Nick Calathes to the free throw line for a couple.
Brad, you talked about Devin Downey. He has that lean back, and he's only 5'9", but Marcus Thornton is 6'4". And watch how he elevates and watch where he goes. He's going to actually go backwards just a little bit, only about 4 or 5 inches. But if he doesn't go back those 4 or 5 inches, Calathes gets a touch on the ball.
In the game before, number 3 is Shipman. In the game for the Tigers, number 13, Terry Martin.
Terry Martin checks in for LSU. Ray Shipman came in for Florida. Calathes had trouble at the free throw line in the first half. And he struggled that one in. 12 for Calathes. And LSU's lead is 1.
You heard Janine talk about at halftime, Florida coaching staff trying to decide, do we gamble with our pressure? I think it's a gamble to gamble with their pressure in this building.
Thornton, a two-pointer didn't go. Battle for the rebound. Who's going to get it? Mitchell tangled up with Calathes on the baseline. And it's going to be out of bounds to Florida. So the Gators, who led by 4 at the break, have an opportunity to lead again should they score. Calathes almost took that 3. Nice job defensively by Garrett Temple. And Temple is going to come up with a steal. And a foul on Calathes. So Florida's got as many turnovers in the second half as they did the entire first half.
Brad, arguably 14 and White is the best all-around defender in this league. Bernardo kid from Mississippi State blocks a lot of shots, but he's 6'6". But did you see where his hands were? His hands were below the knees of Nick Calathes because he understands to drop his center of gravity and play low.
Here's a double catch by Mitchell. And Calathes will pull down the miss. Hodge on the run. All the way for Walter Hodge. Hodge, the winningest Gator ever. He's been part of 113 wins past Chris Richard and Lee Humphrey, with the victory over Vanderbilt over the weekend as the winningest Gator to ever wear a Florida uniform.
Calathes still on Thornton here at the bottom of the screen.
Temple, fadeaway jumper, tipped, almost went in, and now Calathes another rebound. Great lead pass to Hodge, up and under. Wow, with a left hand. You can't do it any better on the run with your offhand if there is such a thing. He doesn't have one.
Brad, it is very, very difficult for a 6'6" guy like Calathes going full speed to bounce past the ball to a guy 5'10". And that's just what he did to perfection. That is a very difficult pass he just pulled off.
Well, if you're going to pick up your 400th career assist, you might remember it as being one of your better passes with your left hand on the break. Here's assist number 400 for Nick Calathes. Watch that ball have eyes. Perfect spin to Hodge. Florida regains the lead from LSU, and they're up by 3.
Well, the biggest parade for Mardi Gras in New Orleans took place this weekend, part of the many festivities that happened during Mardi Gras. You know, Mardi Gras has its roots in the Middle Ages in France. The peasants would dress up in costumes mimicking the noblemen, the clergy, their superiors, in other words. They would go house to house looking for an ingredient, a handout for their gumbo, which they would then cook and feast upon at the end of their trek. And this was in advance of the fasting season known as Lent, which begins tomorrow. Now, Baton Rouge has 16 different Mardi Gras parades. They commenced on February 7th. They will end at midnight tonight. And this tradition is thought to have been brought to this country by the Lemoyne brothers, who were sent by King Louis XIV. And now, guys, you are up to date on your Mardi Gras trivia.
Wow, boy. Sounds like the same thing I do on Halloween, except I'm not looking for gumbo.
What'd you say you're going to give up for Lent this year?
You.
Oh, me.
Martin. That starts tomorrow morning. It starts as soon as this game's over.
You're going to give me up. Okay. All right.
Warner, he gave up a 3.
I'm a bad habit to break now.
You really are. Tyus in and out and rebound off to Terry Martin. I've got enough vices. If I could get rid of you, that'd be one less. 49-26. Florida by 3. Oh, that's a tough pass, and Tyus swipes it. Not a good entry pass by Thornton.
And Nick Calathis, 4 assists and 4 rebounds away from a triple-double in this ball game already.
Here's Tyus. He's been very good, but he got blocked by Johnson. Second try, still won't go. And Martin pulls off the rebound. So Johnson affected the first shot, and then Tyus missed the second one. Here's Martin offensively, fading away on the elbow. Calathis, another rebound.
22% shot out of Martin after one pass. Shoots an 8-footer going away from the rim.
And Shipman is fouled as he got the pass from Calathis. And Garrett Temple picked up the foul. Judgment Week continues. Couple of games on Wednesday. Big East first. UConn and Marquette get together at 7. Then Duke and Maryland in the ACC at 9. Wednesday Night Hoops presented by Disney Parks. Part of Judgment Week on ESPN.
Boy, can Maryland do it one more time on their home floor? Will Gary Williams come out of that tunnel prior to the tip, pumping his fist again? Fear the turtle one more time.
They do it in overtime over the weekend. You know, ever since Gary started getting heat and kind of fought back and said, it's, you know, brought the faculty into it a little bit. Media got a little bit on him. They've been fighting like crazy.
That's who he is. That's his DNA.
Yeah. Triple-double in that game, as a matter of fact, over the weekend. Don't see many of them.
You know, last year, talking about Grievous Vasquez having a triple-double against North Carolina. Last year, only Vasquez and Nick Calathis averaged for the year over 15, 6, and 5.
Marcus Thornton, I can see how this guy's had 8 games of 30-plus in his career, 5 of them this year. He is a scoring machine. At 15 in the first half, he's got 6 threes in the ballgame if you just wanted it. Warner, he'll try a triple. And Temple with a rebound. Here's Temple going up with a triple, and he got it. Big shot by Garrett Temple. LSU back in front. Hyde has to go high off the glass to get around those long arms, and here comes LSU. Bo Spencer. And in the paint, LSU is fouled by Warner. I beg your pardon, it's not going to be on Warner. It's going to be on Irving Walker. Last road win against a ranked opponent. You got to go back a couple of years against Kentucky at Rupp.
And Brett, I thought Sharon Collins last night after the ball game in the interview with Holly Rowe, she asked him a very good question. What made the difference when your team was down 16 on the road? And he said, our huddles remain very, very positive.
Yep.
Kansas is a lot like Florida. They're a young team. And I imagine Billy Donovan knows the importance right now of staying positive in his huddle, especially when they have not had that success so far this season on the road.
Yeah, and you know, Jimmy, Coach Donovan was just telling me today that he has been working with his team on understanding situations better. He says we can't force low percentage plays. We can't give momentum back with less than stellar decisions. He said there's a fine line between playing to win and playing not to lose. He thinks that's been the biggest difference in some of their recent road losses.
Right now, LSU playing to win. They're up by 3, the biggest lead of this half. Now Walker running the point for Florida.
Brad Parsons needs to be a shooter right now with Calathis not on the floor.
Walker, and he got the 3. From when that one took off, we were right behind him. I didn't think it was going in. He found the right side of the rim, dropped through, and we're tied again. Walker has had games of 18 that we saw against South Carolina, which is a career high. He's coming off 17 against Vandy and had some big three-pointers in that game in the win over the Commodores over the weekend. Spencer, double pumps, trying to hustle for the rebound as Tyus. Ball is going to be knocked out of bounds by Florida. LSU will have it. Calathis is coming back in.
Back in October, Trent Johnson pulled Bo Spencer into his office. He didn't like how Bo Spencer had adjusted to the different rules and regulations and how we do things now underneath Trent Johnson. He said, I'll be very honest with you. This is how it's going to be. You adjust to me, I'm not going to adjust to you. And he has made that adjustment from that point on.
And Mitchell, quick. First step is too quick. Traveled. There's the coach that last year got his team to the Sweet 16. Pac-10 Coach of the Year at Stanford. Before that, success at Nevada and a former WAC Coach of the Year out there. Walker, I thought he was going to try another one. Here's Parsons, and he got 3 in the middle. And he'll go to the free throw line, trying to make it a three-point play.
Brad, Florida is great at misdirection in their offense. They'll bring the ball one direction, they're going to bring it this way, and then throw it right back, and watch what happens. Kind of like a continuous circle cut. But they get that defense going one direction, and they'll throw it back across at the top, and boom, here they come again. And that time, Parsons made him pay.
And he got a three-point play out of it as he hit the free throw. Florida back in front by 3. We continue to seesaw back and forth. You know, thinking back to being at the shoot-around today, and Trent Johnson talking with all of us, and he actually said, as Garrett Temple knocks down a 2, he said, I think Chandler Parsons is kind of the X factor for Florida. I don't think, in all the games we've done about Florida, I don't think I've ever heard that from another coach. I think he was right. Parsons has hit some huge shots both outside and inside for Florida tonight. Gators lead by 1 as we are under 12 minutes. Temple knocks it out of Calathis' hands. Florida up by 1. Tigers can clinch at least a tie for the regular season title with a win. They're going to have to work from 1 point down with 11:35. Take a look at the ladder's resume for the Florida Gators. 21-6 coming in, 8-4 in the SEC East, Jimmy.
I think they have a little bit more work to do. Their RPI is good. That's a great win against Washington that leads the Pac-10 and may win the Pac-10. And the key loss at Georgia at the bottom of the SEC East. 1-3 against those teams that they could very well be battling for that 4th or 5th team out of the SEC, Kentucky, Tennessee, and South Carolina.
Obviously, some people are partying on this Fat Tuesday. With that in mind, not everybody feels as good as we do tomorrow morning. You have some teams that possibly could give you a headache?
Yeah, well, yeah, there'll be a lot of people in this part of the country that'll have headaches tomorrow. And
go ahead, Joker.
If they make the Jet, they average 94 points a game. That's a headache. Butler, Howard, and Hayward. Luke Neville at Utah, Stephen Curry at Davidson. Those individual players are a headache to play against. And if they make the Jet and you draw those teams, you'll have a headache trying to figure out how to beat them.
Walker got around his man just before the shot clock expired, and Tyus keeps it alive. Calathis goes right back up with a triple. And that's Bo Spencer who will hold it for LSU as they come down the floor looking to regain the lead again.
Boy, and the offense has been Marcus Thornton and Garrett Temple, hasn't it, so far for LSU? 38 points, right?
Yeah, they're 14 out of 19 between them. The rest of the team is 8 for 23.
Better tag Thornton. You're going to be in that matchup zone. You better keep an eye on him.
Calathis, the closest man to him over there on that left wing. Spencer on the drive. Got it to drop. Foul by Parsons.
Brad, that's a high IQ play by a point guard to drive that basketball against that matchup zone. In a matchup zone, you can get some mismatches on you. And when they switch right here, boom. Now Parsons has Spencer. Parsons is more of a 3 or 4 man. And Bo Spencer recognized it and just went right to the rack. The speed took over. Good job by Bo Spencer to read what the defense gave him.
And Bo's got a 3-point play. And LSU with a lead. Calathis back inside of Tyus off the glass, and it rolls in. Good looking move by Alex Tyus. He's got 13 points. Mitchell that court in a hurry, and I think Warner got him in the paint. First Dan Warner. Thursday night Judgment Week continues. Big East, West Virginia, and Cincinnati get together at 7. Then at 9 o'clock, it's Purdue and Michigan in the Big Ten Thursday night showcase presented by T. Rowe Price, part of Judgment Week on ESPN. Brad Nessler, Jimmy Dykes, Janine Edwards with you from Baton Rouge, where Tasman Mitchell at the free throw line has just given the hometown Tigers the lead again. We continue to bounce back and forth between Florida having the lead and then LSU on their home floor here at the Maravich Center doing likewise.
Well, you'd expect the number 1 team out of the SEC East, Florida, and the number 1 team out of the SEC West, LSU, to be in a 2-point game with 10 minutes to go. And that's right where we are.
Walter Hodge missed a 3. Spencer with a rebound. LSU has already assured themselves of a first-day bye in the SEC tournament in Tampa St. Pete's coming up in a few weeks. A win tonight would assure them at least a tie for the overall regular season crown. And their magic number, any combination of a win by them and losses by South Carolina, Florida, or Kentucky, and they've got it for the regular season all to themselves. Spencer on the drive, kick out. Temple, great look for 3. Got it! Calathis and miss. Here comes LSU. Thornton. Nice look underneath to Mitchell. Florida might need a timeout. LSU, their biggest lead of the second half, up by 7 with 9:07 to go. It might be a time for floats and parties. This team's not floating right now. They're going full blast.
Yeah, they sure are. Florida right now, you're going to see Tyus right here, and he's a big, and this is a big for LSU running the floor. Now, even, Brad, if he's not your man that you're assigned to, old-fashioned hustle has to come into play. And Tyus never gets on his horse, and look what happens. Number 1 just camps out right in front of the rim, and that's a basket. Old-fashioned hustle, something I'm sure Billy Dunham just talked about in his last time out.
What did LSU talk about, Janine?
Well, Brad, not only hustle, but Coach Johnson told me the number 1 thing he looks for in these late-game timeouts is poise. He told me he'll get a read from Marcus Thornton on the pulse of the offense, such as fatigue, frustration. But he said overall, he looks for poise. And in these last 2 huddles, he stressed to his guys, smart hands, stay in control.
Billy Donovan, that wasn't a smart pass, but he was trying to get it to Garrett Temple. So each team turns it over. And every situation will become crucial in the last 8:48. Tigers trying to win their 9th straight game.
Calathis goes inside to pop outside. He's got the best defender in the SEC just chewing him up.
Temple picks up his 3rd foul. That's Calathis. So now Spencer and Temple each with 3 in the LSU backcourt.
I think Calathis likes the fact that Temple's on him. I think Temple likes the fact that he gets to go out and guard the most versatile offensive player. They have a great respect for one another.
Walker found a little crease. Out of control, though, taking that shot. Now Spencer slows it for the LSU offense. We approach 8 minutes.
In Florida right now, you can't let the last couple of empty possessions affect you defensively.
Thornton's foul by Tyus, and he'll go to the free throw line for 3. Second or third time we've seen that tonight. Somebody getting fouled outside the arc on a missed shot.
Well, you know, when you make your first 5 out of your first 6 threes, talked about Florida having to extend their defense and stretch it. Well, this time they overstretch and they commit a foul. I thought it was very interesting what Trent Johnson told you and I today about Marcus Thornton. He said about 3 weeks ago he told the entire team, I want to play in meaningful games at the end of the year. I didn't get to do it on my high school teams who weren't good enough. I didn't get to do it in junior college. And I'm a senior at LSU. I have a chance to play in meaningful games at the end of the year. He's in one of those right now.
Yes, he is. And he's hit 1 of 2 from the free throw line, 2 of 3 from the free throw line. Biggest lead of the ball game by either team. Nice feed inside from Tyus down to Shipman, and Shipman is going to have a chance to make it a three-point play. But that will have to wait until after the timeout. Ray Shipman will be at the stripe off the feed from Tyus. Good game. LSU leading Florida here, 7:48 to play.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball.
All right, Darius, thanks. We're going to have to wait a week now, almost a week, to find out who's going to be number 1. Everybody wants to be there. Nobody can hold on to it once they get there. North Carolina had it the longest. Pittsburgh had it twice and lost it both times, or will lose it. So Shipman knocks down the free throw and makes it a 6-point game.
I loved what Florida did when before that last timeout. Crowd was into it. They were down. They had to have a basket. So what do? They go inside with a set play. You know, I love that on the road. Going inside and putting the fannies in the seats.
Spencer way off on a 3. Loose ball, though, is going to be out of bounds in front of us. It'll still be LSU ball. Last touch by the Gators. It's Thornton and Thornton, Quentin and Marcus, along with Temple, Spencer, and here's Temple around a pick for 3, rimmed it out. Calathis now will run the show for the Gators.
Boy, LSU has done as good a job as we've seen this year keeping Nick Calathis out of the lane on that on-ball screening action. Normally right here's where he thrives, but he has a great defender on him. And the guys that they're bringing into the pick and roll are long guys.
Hodge trying to get it down to 1 on the baseline. Offensive foul. Runner threw a shoulder in there.
Brad, on the road, when you're behind, I think you have to go inside. And they're going to use Irving Walker right here as 5'10" to set a back screen. The reason why I like this play, he has a small guy on him. So if you switch it, the size isn't there to stop it in front of the rim. I like the play that Florida ran going in that last timeout, using a small guy inside screening to keep you from switching.
Thornton almost let fly. Calathis right on his hip. Under 6.5 to go. LSU by 6. Spencer ran into some traffic. 5 on the shot clock. Here goes Mitchell from long range. And the rebound is all alone for Walter Hodge. There's a pass by Calathis underneath. Tyus missed a reverse layup. That would have been another beautiful assist. But Tyus couldn't quite find the backboard. He got pretty deep underneath.
He sees things on the floor, Nick Calathis does, that the other 10,000 folks in the arena don't see, including you and I.
Yep.
The great ones have that ability to one pass ahead.
And if you could see it, you couldn't get it there.
Right.
Thornton, pull up 3. Werner's in good position for the rebound. Here's again the lead pass down to Tyus. And it's not an assist this time either. Tyus has missed back-to-back shots. That one, the tougher of the 2. So neither team has scored in the last minute. Still LSU by 6, and they're going to take a timeout. 5:22 away from at least a tie for the regular season title for LSU. Florida making them earn every bit of it, though. It was Florida leading by 4 at halftime, 41-37. There's been a run of 12-2 in this half for LSU to get the lead they have right now. There's the East standings. Kentucky and South Carolina both at 8-4 as well. They'll play tomorrow night. Tennessee's fallen to 7-5. So Florida could get a leg up if they could get this all-important win on the road. But the road has not been good to them in the SEC. 2-4 on the road so far this year.
They still have work to do on their resume. I think the SEC is going to end up with 5 teams in the NCAA tournament. 4's looking really good right now. Interesting, Tennessee, with that #1 strength of schedule out of conference, has struggled lately. They need some answers.
LSU's taken a couple of bad shots the last 2 trips. Let's see if Florida gets a good one.
And here's Nick Calathis, Brad. He's had the best defender in the SEC on him on one end, and he's had to defend Marcus Thornton on the other, and he's on antibiotics because he's sick. I think that's how you say it.
Yes.
So where is his strength in the last 5 minutes of this ball game? They have been on him at both ends.
Walker from way out.
Oh, my goodness.
Irving Walker, every time you think, don't take that shot, don't take that shot, you're a freshman, he'll drop one of those on you, and he cuts it to a 3-point game. Thornton trying to work the baseline. Tough move, and he's fouled. And it's going to be on Calathis.
Brad, Irving Walker's a guy that is a fine line between being a fearless shooter and a clueless shooter, but he gets just enough separation to become a fearless shooter. Boom, right there. Now, the reason why he was fearless, that was a 6'1" guy, Spencer, coming at his grill. Sometimes we've seen him take those tough shots with length on him, and that's where he borderlines on that fearless, clueless. But I love his toughness that he plays with. Just a freshman getting a lot of valuable minutes for Billy Donovan.
27 points for Marcus Thornton. Quite a Super Tuesday for Marcus.
You and I have seen a lot of players this year. And this kid's going to get a look now, Thornton, at an NBA team because of his size and his courage and how he shoots that ball.
Here he is on the rebound. Off the miss by Walker that time. 4 minutes left. LSU by a handful. Oh, nice look to Johnson, who'll flush it. That time Thornton gave it up. And he's got back-to-back rebounds. LSU can take its time. Crowd, especially that student body over there. I don't know if they went to school today or not. I don't even know if they have school on a day like this, do they?
No school Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday this week because of Fat Tuesday and Mardi Gras. Now, that's a celebration.
That is. So you go from Fat Tuesday to Where Am I Wednesday?
Look out.
The battle between Walker and Spencer right in front of us. Great hustle by both guys from the backcourt. 3:17 remaining. LSU hanging on. They lead by 7, looking for an SEC crown. LSU 71, Florida 64, 3:17 remaining in Judgment Week and our Super Fat Tuesday presented by KFC. And Jimmy Joe, this guy's been a handful of it.
Well, Marcus Thornton, Brad, at 6'4", he came out on fire in this ballgame, has just enough of a lean back. Even at 6'6", Nick Calathis couldn't get a hand on the basketball several times in this game, and his senior partner, Garrett Temple, again, a starter on their Final Four team in 2006, a reputation as the league's best defender overall. And those two guys together have been a handful. There's that lean back again.
And it rattled out this time. Tyus with a rebound. Here comes Walker. And Florida takes a timeout. Billy Donovan gets his guys around him, and Calathis was not in there before that quick timeout.
Brad, he has a young team. They have 3 timeouts left, and you're looking at a situation right now. We can count the number of possessions on each finger probably for both teams, so they don't have a possession to waste. That's why he takes the timeout. You see all the eyes right now on the board. He's drawing up a scoring play right now for his team. He knows they have to score on this possession. This cannot be an empty possession for the Florida Gators. I love the timeout.
That's right, Jimmy, and I can tell you just coming out of that Florida huddle, Coach Donovan stressing to his team very animatedly that LSU has not been guarding them for the entire possession. He wants his players to stay patient. Don't force shots. He says, just wait. They will back off, and we will get our shot. And that's what we referred to earlier about these last-minute sort of decision-making breakdowns that Florida's had in some of these road games.
Calathes swatted out of there by LSU.
Well, that's the play that Billy Donovan drew up. He wanted to get Calathes isolated a little bit. But that length that LSU throws at you around the rim, Brad, can really mess with you.
I think with the exception of Mississippi State, these guys pose the biggest problem going inside.
They do.
And you might get one rejected back at you. Of the teams we've seen in the SEC, I'm talking about. Calathes had a little bit of an opening. Warner gave up a three. Hodge won't. And got it with 3 on the shot clock. That's kind of what Janine was talking about. Be patient. Things will come to you. That one came just in time for Walter Hodge. Now we're down under 2.5. And the game is down to 4 points. LSU trying to hang on at home. Foul's going to be on Irving Walker.
You know what? If I'm Irving Walker, you better understand that this is Nick Calathes' team. I've talked about his toughness, but we've seen Irving Walker late in the ballgame a couple of times do things that he shouldn't be doing. And that time, it looked to me like he went at Nick Calathes, and Nick Calathes put him in his place.
I'd say you're absolutely right.
As well he should. You want your best players to have ownership. Marcus Thornton and Garrett Temple have ownership in LSU, and Nick Calathes has more ownership in Florida's team right now than Irving Walker. And that's not a knock against Walker, no, but it's his first year.
27 for 28, I beg your pardon, for Marcus Thornton.
Now, Walker and Calathes have to just completely forget about that last conversation. Game's on the line on the road.
Here they are playing together. He got it right back from Walker. Calathes to Werner for 3. That was a big shot. Werner had a great look, and he's a good outside shooter. Couldn't get it to drop. Now we're down to 1:45 left. Still just a 2-possession game if Florida gets a stop or a turnover on the Tigers. Thornton rimmed out at 3. Walker weaving up court. Whoa, to Tyus. Somehow Tyus, with those long arms, made that catch and got it to go.
Brett, his ability to catch that basketball going full speed and then to stop and not run underneath the rim.
I didn't think he had a chance.
Well, me neither. I mean, he's running about a 4.640, and then all of a sudden puts the brakes on and elevates up.
That's a nice tip drill. Tipped it to himself.
Beautiful.
Tipped it just enough to slow down, find the brakes, and off the glass. Alex Tyus having an excellent game. He was the first player off the bench last year. Billy Donovan has told us in a perfect world he'd be a great guy still coming off the bench because he's not a true post player. He's about 6'8", but you can see how athletic he is. He's had some block shots tonight. He's missed a couple of shots he'd like to have back on feeds from Nick Calathes, but that one was a dandy to get Florida a much-needed basket with 1:24.
Brett, I think it's interesting that LSU has Quentin Thornton in the basketball game, number 32 in white. He's a 30% free throw shooter. And if I'm Florida right now, I funnel the ball into his hands and I hack him and make him go to the free throw stripe right now.
Here's Walter Hodge with some backcourt pressure on Bo Spencer.
As soon as he touches at 32 in white, I would go at him. Now, will LSU keep the ball out of his hands? I don't know.
He's asking for it,
yeah.
And Spencer's going, I don't think so. Temple, that's a good choice. Whoops. Temple falling down. We've got a minute to play in regulation. 12 on the shot clock. Spencer drives off the glass. Biggest shot of the night by Bo Spencer.
And how about LSU keeping the ball out of the hands of the 30% free throw shooter? I think they talked about it.
Calathes misses a 3. Warner will keep it alive. About a 8-second difference on the shot clock and the game clock. That may not matter right now. Florida's got to hustle. Hodge, deep ball, corner, rebound. LSU's got it. With just 31 seconds remaining, this might be the one that proves the capper.
You know, Bo Spencer goes right at Nick Calathis. And I go back to the fact that Nick Calathis has been sick the last few days on antibiotics, not feeling well, and he's had to work his tail off on both ends of the floor. And Spencer that time went right at Nick Calathis and got to the rim with a game on the line.
Here's the number 2 scorer in the league at the free throw line. Trying to get to 30 for the Knights. More importantly, if he gets to 30, he's going to give himself and his team an 8-point lead, which is 3 possessions for Florida with just 31 ticks left. For 30. Got it. His 6th 30-point game of the year for Marcus Thornton. Time running out on Florida. LSU trying to defend the 3. Warner misses it. Calathis got his man in the air. He'll try one. Still off the mark. And now Hodge. Off the glass. Walter Hodge. 5-point difference with 13.9 to play.
Walter Hodge had no chance but to just fire that thing up, and he missed it so bad that it actually goes in. And now the game's not completely over. LSU's had some pressure now to get the ball in bounds.
And now the student body on the far side is giving it one of these.
Yeah.
As Florida continues to struggle on the road, this would be 2-5 on the road if they indeed lose this. They certainly have battled LSU all the way, but right now LSU is too experienced and too good and talented and athletic at home. I think they're going to hold on to this one.
Just some small things down the stretch. Trent talked to his kids about playing with poise. So in one possession, they don't get the ball in the hands of the 30% free throw shooter. That's a poised play out of LSU. The next time down, they make sure that Bo Spencer, who has the ability to go by, Nick Calathis does. And now the pressure is on them, though, to get this ball inbound. You cannot afford for Florida to get a steal and a quick 3. Look up, LSU has timeouts to burn. So if they can't get it inbound, you take a timeout and come back and talk about it. There's no reason to risk a 50-50 pass right now against Florida in this full court pressure.
Last year, LSU won 6 games in the conference. They're 13.9 seconds away from winning their 12th game in conference play. They bring it into Thornton. He's going to cover the ball, and a quick foul by Calathis will send Thornton back to the free throw line on the far end. Well, I don't know if there's any better way to celebrate than having a 30-point night on Fat Tuesday and not having class tomorrow. There'll be practice, and there will be Sports Center.
And there will be highlights of this guy on Sports Center. Brad, he's, again, when he learns to cut as hard as Jody Meeks does for 40 minutes, he's got a chance to stick on an NBA roster next year, and he's a big reason why LSU is a threat not to win just one game in that NCAA tournament. They have the look of a Sweet 16 team.
Hodge, another 3, too little, and too late more than likely. 4 seconds and a 4-point game. Calathis with the foul.
Well, you have a young team on the road that once again appears to be going to lose one of those 3 or 4 point games that Florida has a lot on their resume right now, a lot of close losses, which wasn't doing them a lot of good. This is an LSU team, Brad, that they're very rare because they're an experienced team, but because they're under a new coach, they are still getting better. Most experienced teams right now on the college level have capped out, not LSU. Trent Johnson says we continue to get better every week. That's why they're dangerous.
Temple and Thornton are the heroes on this Super Tuesday from Baton Rouge. And now, let the good times roll. Everybody up at the Maravich Center. A big win The 9th in a row for LSU, and they can do no worse than tie for the regular season SEC crown.
Brad, sometimes you just have to ride your horses as long as you can, and that's what LSU did tonight with Marcus Thornton and Garrett Temple. Their second best player, Tasman Mitchell, had a very good game. But it was those two seniors that have ownership in their team right now that just refuse to let a young Florida Gator team come in here and steal that SEC championship from them.
Who knows, maybe those two teams will meet yet again in Tampa. That we'll have to wait and see, but we know LSU has showed their number 18 ranking as they beat Florida 81-75 on their home floor tonight to win their 9th straight game. That's going to do it. Sports Center's coming up next. This has been an exclusive presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, on this Super Fat Tuesday from the Maravich Assembly Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Final score, LSU 81, Florida 75. For Jimmy Dykes and Janine Edwards, Brad Nessler from Louisiana. Good night.